The world is at war, and those who fight in it are returning home forever changed. Some are physically scarred, others emotionally traumatized. As they try to adjust to life after war, a new subculture is emerging, one that will come to define an era. Motorcycling has become a popular pastime among veterans who seek the thrill of the open road and the camaraderie of their fellow riders. And from this unlikely source, a new kind of brotherhood is born. In this world, Otto Friedli founds the infamous Hells Angels, who become a feared and revered symbol of rebellion and freedom in the 1960s counterculture. But the Hells Angels are not alone in their quest for dominance. Another club, the Vagos Motorcycle Club, has also emerged on the scene. Founded by a group of Mexican Americans in San Bernardino, California, the Vagos are known for their green colors and their fierce loyalty to their members. And so begins a rivalry that captivates the nation, a battle between two titans of the motorcycle world. But it is more than just a turf war. It is a clash of cultures, a clash of values, and a clash of everything that makes America what it is. And as the conflict escalates, the nation watches in awe, wondering what will become of these two legendary clubs. Green Nation, inside the deadly world of the Vagos. As the Hells Angels continue to expand and open charters in American cities, the club's original founder, Friedli, finds himself in prison. After serving his sentence, he decides to leave the club in the late 60s, creating a power vacuum in the leadership of the notorious motorcycle gang. But it doesn't take long until a new king is crowned, Sonny Barger. He is one of the most important figures in the club's history and rises quickly through the ranks to become the most famous member of the Hells Angels. As the Hells Angels vie for the top spot, they face competition from many other clubs, including the Vagos Motorcycle Club. Rudy Esparza and 6 other men form the Vagos, which quickly expand and make headlines in the public eye. The Vagos MC members are easily recognizable by their green colors and their emblem that features the Norse god of mischief, Loki, riding a motorcycle. The patch was created by a member of the Bear-Do chapter while they were in prison and is considered an honor for every member to wear. The gang's reputation for toughness is reflected in their motto, "We give what we get." The Vagos MC is commonly identified by the number 22, which corresponds to the letter V, the 22nd letter of the alphabet. They also use the slogan VFFV, which stands for Vagos Forever, Forever Vagos, to demonstrate their loyalty and brotherhood. Similar slogans are used by other biker gangs like the Bandidos. The gang is often referred to as the Green Nation due to their preference for the color green, which is prominently displayed on their clothing, logos, and accessories. The motorcycles of the members are typically black and green, and they also wear leather jackets and t-shirts in these colors. In 1974, the Vagos make national news with the William Welton case. William, a student at the University of New Mexico, is found dead after a night out at a bar near campus. The police eventually narrow their investigation down to a group of 4 Vagos bikers who had been passing through the area on their way to Los Angeles. Although the bikers maintain their innocence, they are eventually arrested and held in prison while the authorities search for evidence. Desperate to solve the case, the authorities place an undercover investigator in the cell with each of the bikers. One of the men eventually breaks and gives a false confession, leading to harsh sentences for the remaining 4. The situation seems hopeless until the real perpetrator, Kerry Rodney Lee, turns himself in 17 months later. Lee is known for his involvement in narcotics trafficking and is also a police informant. On that fateful day, Lee meets Welton in a bar, and the two hit it off at first. However, the night takes a deadly turn when they get into a heated argument that ends in tragedy. With the true culprit behind bars, the Vagos are cleared of any wrongdoing, and the case is finally closed. But the biker world continues to be filled with tension and competition, with various clubs vying for supremacy. The Vagos now have a 3-figure membership and are also established in the underworld. The police get wind of the whole thing and launch several investigations into the motorbike club. The authorities arrest more than a dozen members of the Vagos in October 1998. The arrests come about through an undercover investigation that lasts more than 2 years. The bikers are alleged to have violated drug and weapons laws in the process. But the Vagos are hit even more by law enforcement. George Rowe, a hard-working construction worker whose life is turned upside down by a tragic incident. One summer evening in 2003, George loses a dear friend in a brawl with the notorious Vagos biker gang at a local pool hall. Fueled by grief and a desire for revenge, George knows he can't take on the Vagos alone. But rather than giving up, George decides to take a different approach. He offers to work as an FBI informant and infiltrate the Vagos. And so, George begins a dangerous double life, becoming a trusted member of the gang while secretly gathering intelligence for the FBI. Over time, George works his way up the ranks of the Vagos, earning their respect and even hosting their meetings in his own home. He even finds love in this new world, marrying a woman who knows nothing of his undercover work. But on March 9th, 2006, everything changes. The authorities have gathered enough evidence to finally take down the Vagos, and George knows it is time to act. He reveals his true identity to his wife and offers her the chance to enter witness protection with him. Because of George's work as an informant, countless members of the Vagos are arrested and sentenced to long prison terms. Biker battle begins. The Vagos challenge the Hells Angels. The Vagos are strong, but there is an undisputed king in the biker scene, the Hells Angels. For years, the Hells Angels and the Vagos have managed to stay out of each other's way, respecting each other's territories. But all that changes on a fateful day in January 2010. Santa Cruz has long been known as Hells Angels territory, a place where the club holds sway and has cemented its dominance. But on that day, the Vagos decide to venture into enemy territory. 3 members of the Vagos MC, feeling emboldened, drive into Santa Cruz, determined to make their presence felt. Outside a Starbucks, they encounter a few Hells Angels members, and a verbal altercation ensues. The tension is palpable as the 2 groups exchange heated words. Suddenly, the Vagos are ready to leave, but the Hells Angels are not done with them yet. They mount their bikes and chase after the Vagos. The Vagos are on their way with 2 motorcycles and a car, but the Hells Angels are not to be deterred. They chase the Vagos through the streets, determined to show them who is boss. The tension is high as the 2 groups finally collide, resulting in a violent fistfight. In the end, no one is seriously hurt, but the incident leaves deep scars. A feud is triggered between the 2 clubs that will simmer for years to come. The Hells Angels see the Vagos as a threat to their dominance, while the Vagos are not going to back down from a challenge. With the threat of violence and chaos hanging over the biker world like an ominous dark cloud, it has become an even more dangerous place. On September 23, 2011, the simmering tensions between the Vagos and Hells Angels come to a boiling point in Sparks, Nevada. Both clubs happen to be at the Nugget Casino on that fateful day, and it is clear that a confrontation is going to take place. And it does. But this time, it is not just a fistfight. This time, a deadly blow is struck. The president of the San Jose chapter of the Hells Angels is fatally injured. Surveillance cameras capture the incident, and the authorities have no trouble identifying the culprit. This action takes the dispute between the 2 clubs to a whole new level. Retaliation is swift, with a member of the Vagos being injured in a drive-by shooting at a rally just 1 day later. The situation is escalating rapidly, and the future looks bleak. The tensions between the Vagos and Hells Angels have reached a boiling point. The 2 clubs have been engaged in a violent feud, and the deadly altercation takes place on the 23rd of April 2022, outside the Marquis Bar in San Bernardino. The violence escalates, leaving 1 Hells Angels member dead and 4 others injured. But the summer of 2022 brings more bloodshed. The Vagos organize a run in honor of fallen veterans, and they are riding on a Nevada highway when they notice they are being followed by 5 Hells Angels. As they drive alongside each other, the Hells Angels attempt to knock the Vagos off their bikes. The situation quickly turns violent, and one of the Hells Angels opens fire. 6 people are injured, and the authorities swiftly apprehend the perpetrators. Yet even with several members of both clubs in pre-trial detention, some sources speculate that the feud may not be over. The deep-rooted animosity between the Vagos and Hell's Angels continues to boil over, leaving more casualties in its wake.